Behind the Iron Curtain, Soviet filmmakers were supposed to create art for the people. Instead, they often just copied Western movies, changed a few details, and passed them off as original Soviet masterpieces. One of the clearest examples is a film that almost everyone in the USSR knew and loved. In 1988, the Soviet two-part television film Heart of a Dog was released, directed by Vladimir Bortko, and based on the story of the same name by Mikhail Bulgakov. But it turns out that 12 years before the Soviet film's release, an adaptation had already been released in Italy, directed by Alberto Lattuada. Here's a clip from the first 10 minutes of both films.
Без ошейника. Вот и прекрасно. Тебя-то мне и надо.
Ошейника нету, он бродячий.
Тут швейцар.
Добрый вечер.
Что ты говоришь? Какой паршивый?
Какая роскошь, какие мягкие ковры.
Стало быть, это я его кусанул. Моя работа.
Вот, видел? Ты мне заплатишь за это.
Soviet director Bortko borrowed a number of staging techniques. He also adopted the film's black and white sepia color scheme, strongly reminiscent of the brownish tones of the Italian-German film. The diamond arm is slightly reminiscent of the Danish film Strike First Freddy. It all starts on a ship, and then both men receive something valuable upon exiting the ship. Secret services contact both men. A gang of mercenaries and a singer attempt to rob both men. There's a fight on stage, then a fight in the garage. There's the boss, there's the doctor. And that's not all. The Soviet film, The Man from Boulevard des Capucines, is very reminiscent of the Czechoslovakian Western Lemonade Joe. The main character in the plot of the famous film, The Girls, are borrowed from the Hungarian comedy, Tomboy. It turns out that the famous film, Office Romance by director Eldar Ryazanov, which is also based on another Czechoslovakian film, How to Get Rid of Helenka. Russian cinema, as the heir to Soviet cinema, also inherited plagiarism. The Interns, Going Vertical, Warrior, How I Met Your Mother, Bars, and many others. Now let's look at how the USSR stole Western technology. For example, the USSR didn't bother with cameras at all. Almost all of them were unlicensed copies of Western cameras. Fed Micron and Konica Y, Fed Micron 2, and again Konica, this time the full-frame C35. Konica was so popular in the USSR that its first autofocus camera, the Konica C35AF, was copied by Bellomo under the name Elikon Autofocus. In addition, Bellomo tried to copy the original compact rangefinder, Olympus XA, calling the copy simply Elikon. Now let's look at how things were with consumer electronics. Here is a reel-to-reel video recorder, Electronica 501 Video, from 1974 for recording black and white images of the European television standard, and its sound accompaniment from the Electronica 841 television camera. And this is a video recorder, Sony AV3400, from 1969. The USSR even copied the brand name label. In 1984, large-scale production of the first Soviet video recorder, the Electronica VM12, in VHS format began. It turned out to be very similar to the Japanese Panasonic NV2000, released back in 1975. The next model, the Electronica VMC8220 from 1987, turns out to be an almost exact copy of the Samsung VX8220 from the same year. As we can see, they didn't have enough imagination for their own design. A little about children's toys. The popular electronic toy, Electronica IM02, produced since 1984, turned out to be an unofficial clone of the Japanese Nintendo EG26 Egg from the 1981 Nintendo Game & Watch series. Electronic's 24-01 Mickey Mouse turned out to be a clone of the Nintendo Mickey Mouse MC25. The IM03 Electronica Secrets of the Ocean turned out to be a clone of the Nintendo OC22 Octopus. In both cinema and everyday electronics, the story was always the same. The Soviet Union rarely created anything truly original. Instead, it copied Western films, stole designs for radios and tape recorders, and then proudly presented them as its own achievements. Behind the Iron Curtain, innovation was replaced by imitation.